What's up guys, it's Drac, and today we're going to be reviewing the NERF DragonPower Skyblaze. So I think this goes without saying, but the Skyblaze and the rest of the DragonPower line kind of came out of nowhere. Now I think it's a sensible integration, what with the Dungeons and Dragons properties and the NERF properties both belonging to the mothership over at Hasbro, but the Dragon Bow action, which like, what does that even mean? What is Dragon Bow action? I don't know. But the overall like aesthetic and industrial design of this product line, from the pistol to this one, and I can't wait to review the rifle, is actually quite good. I mean, I love the logo. I like the, use of Dungeons and Dragons motifs in the grips. I think that the translucencies kind of evoke fire. I think that it really lets you kind of feel like, you're doing something sort of Dungeons and Dragon while you're having your basement blaster battle. Is it a performance blaster? Absolutely not, but nothing with the NERF logo on it is a performance blaster these days. So we'll review it in its own merits, which is to say, like, as a compact kind of bow type blaster, how does it stack up to things like, the Strato Bow or the Thunder Bow and other blasters that sort of follow suit within this line and lineage. So I think that aesthetically, this one has the most, obviously, high fantasy elements out of them all. I think that it definitely has high potential for like roleplay fun, if that's what you're into. I like that each one of these blasters comes with its own sort of character design to it. I think there's a lot to like about it, including how hard it is to get out of the pack. Alright guys, so time-lapse magic aside, definitely be careful when unboxing this one. It's held in with strings. The strings are relatively similar to the bowstring. The bowstring, of course, being essential to use the product. Now, as opposed to a traditional bow, where you would knock some sort of arrow or projectile and then pull back on a rest, or create that rest with your finger or an angle or what have you, the bow on this is strictly to prime. So you pull back, and what you're doing inside is kind of pulling a plunger with a spring to release a puff of air inside. I think you're specifically priming one that's down in here. And if I look through, oh man, all the fun of the translucent D&D logo, and you can't see through this guy. So effectively, how quickly and snappy your release is going to in turn kind of deliver that plunger through the Smart AR system into the darts. Now, being a Smart AR system, there will be more dead space the further down we go in it, so your best shot should be your first shot, and then it'll follow through. I do want to mention I have large hands. The DragonPower grips tended to be smaller, which is no surprise given their kind of fantasy roleplay elements, but my hand will not fit comfortably in here. Now, if I, put a finger out like this, I can fit 3 fingers around pretty comfortably. So, with all that said, firing the blaster, kind of a disaster because of how cramped this almost, they're trying to create the simulation or the feeling of a compound, but I just whacked myself in the wrist. Let me try one more time. Maybe the knock is too high. So you have to, sort of frustrating. If you've ever done actual archery, this is going to be less pleasant for you. So by pulling this way, and since the spring only comes through here, it comes up, which is a really bad habit for archery. You're supposed to pull back to an anchor point, but I mean, again, it's a toy. It's a $21 toy. Firing it should be easier, but I feel like you have to leave the knock behind, like so. And I am legitimately hitting my thumb pad every time I do that. And then that last shot didn't adequately fire because I guess I didn't have enough power to beat that dead space. But you can see the air restrictors in here. And then one thing that is nice is that the same kind of rubberized sort of thing that the FireShot had going for it, these dragon scales that are part of the blaster's design language, as opposed to the ones that are like gilded and scaled into the plastic molding. These are rubberized. So since they're at the top and at the bottom, if you were so inclined, and I would never suggest, entering NERF combat where one uses their blaster as a melee, but given that we all know that that's gonna happen in basement battles across the world, it's nice that the bow arms for when you want to go full Legolas on somebody are in fact rubberized. They're softer. It's nice for when I'm knocking it into the table here that you know, I'm not damaging the shell of the blaster itself. These ones just look good, these spined bits here. This is the kind of thing that would paint up very nicely. The fact that it's in red and black certainly appeals to me. I'm trying to think if I held it like this, I could avoid hitting my wrist with it. I don't think you're gonna need a vambrace to use it necessarily, but do keep in mind that this is a very poorly designed bow, if not a very novel blaster design to kind of incorporate fantasy compound dragon scales. There's a lot of things that it's trying to do aesthetically all at once, and that leads to significantly worsened ergonomics. But all the same, we will take it outside, we will do our best, and your performance is gonna vary depending upon who you are and how you shoot it. But we'll do our best to max out its FPS over our chronograph and let you know what we think. All right, guys, so we're out here with the Dragon Skyblaze from NERF, and I don't know, the more I use it, the more I realize that like this one might have slipped through the product testing cracks. Maybe they just can't do real world product testing in a COVID remote kind of design world, but there's some serious flaws with how the string impacts this relatively uncomfortable grip area. And I wanted to like the Dragon blasters a lot. I think the pistol is one of the better blasters that they've made in a while, but you know, there shouldn't be any line bias. Like Ultra is bad because all of its categories are bad. But this one has some winners and some losers, and hopefully the rifle, when we get to reviewing that, will be a little bit better than the bow. But let's go ahead and, you literally can't time it worse. Jinxie. Jinx. Come on, what are you doing? What are you doing, wee doggo? Okay. Error. 64, 59, error. I guess we'll put this one in the top here. 70. So you can get 70 FPS out of the top barrel with optimal performance. I'm only gonna put one downrange. The darts are unique with these translucent tips and red dart bodies. And while I used to think that unique darts were really cool, especially back when they were doing whistlers and tagger darts and suction cups and stuff, it seems like making, you know, an elite dart a unique or custom color with custom deco and an extra, you know, price incentive on it is just sort of pointless in a world where the best darts cost the least amount of money these days. But, you know, we'll go ahead and we'll fire this one downrange and see what a 70 FPS bow shot counts for. And, man, I know we already did the elite dart speech, so you get about 35 feet when it curves straight into the ground. At least it flew relatively straight. That's my review of the Skyblaze, and in all honesty, I think that this one is a pass. As much as I love the dragon wing motifs on the side, I like bow-style blasters. I think that the ergo on this it was maybe intentionally crunched so that it would fit properly on a pallet or in a machine or something, and it really needs to be a little bit larger, and the grip design needs to be completely redone. If you're looking to get into bow style blasters, particularly on a budget, I cannot recommend highly enough going with like a faux bow alternative, where you're going to get some of the muscle memory of like actual archery. You're going to get projectiles that'll go hundreds of feet with reasonable accuracy, and I think that you're going to have a lot more fun than you would with something like the Skyblaze. So that's just my recommendation. I'll try and remember to put links to both in the description box down below. If you just absolutely need a dragon bow, I think that this is really your only option. But if you want something that's a little more fun and a little more exciting, not even from a performance perspective, just from a play perspective, where you get to do something a little more engaging, a little more real, then I think that you should go with a faux bow of any variety. So that's my review on this one. I think the Skyblaze is strictly a pass for me, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. As always, much love. Blast on, Drac out.